This is Lord Farron, and you're watching Points of Interest. This is Lord Farron, and you're watching Points of Interest. And I'm rich, you know.
I love Lord Farron so much.
Yeah, so funny, especially right over your name.
Did you know? I know. I was like, oh no, we did not think that through. I'm Lord Farron, and
Yeah.
apparently I'm rich. Surprise! My family's thrilled.
I'm
Hi
sure.
guys, welcome back to Points of Interest. I'm Ruby, your host, and Roy. Welcome back to Points of Interest.
Thanks a lot.
So we have had an interesting past hour. I don't think we've used up all of our fun. All of our absurdity.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, I think we have probably plenty of absurdity left, so we will share that with you. Also, some Ventari.
Yeah,
So-
just a little bit.
Just a little Ventari?
Yeah.
Or
maybe
tons of Ventari?
Ventari. Yeah.
Yay. All right, so at the beginning of this week, we shared the picture of Ventari with you guys. I already showed this to Roy. He got to see this for the first time.
Right before this.
I kind of intentionally saved this and didn't let you see it until just now,
Yeah.
just because I kind of wanted to see your reaction. Earlier this week, we shared the picture of Ventari with you guys, and we didn't really tell you much except a Ventari quote, and then we just kind of sat back and enjoyed what you guys thought. And I personally got a huge kick out of seeing what everybody thought, and some of you got it. A lot of you had your own theories that were absolutely fantastic. So I had a few things that Monday's teaser image was not, and I wanted to share that with you guys because it was amazing. Let's see, things that Monday's image were not. Goat Simulator.
This one's my favorite.
Seriously?
Yeah, I think so.
I was like, yes, it's
I
Goat
saw
Simulator.
this on Reddit.
Oh, Goat Simulator. Yeah, Goat Simulator was cracking me up. Goat Man.
Close.
Ventari. Surprise! Ventari's a goat man. Can you work with that?
I think so.
Maybe?
Maybe.
No. Let's see what else.
Centaurs might be angry.
This totally blew my mind. Rangers can now transform to goats. These are all things that these are like comments that people left on our Facebook page.
People can be really creative.
I love this one. Rangers, you guys are like super into the whole idea of goats. Let's see. Char Ranger. Please explain this one to me.
Resemblance with horns, maybe. I'm not sure.
All right. Let's see. What else we got? Gaki. If you... I love this one. Anybody who has played in game with me for a long time probably knows how completely horrified I was by this. Gaki, if you weren't a Guild Wars 1 player, was this like bipedal, horrifying to me, goat creature that wore like this thong/loincloth combination that was...
I can see how that would be terrifying.
To me, it was as awful as it sounds. Everybody else thought it was really funny. I think we had like Gaki tonics, and my guildmates thought it was the funniest thing in the world to use the transform and run around
Did
after
they all
me.
surround you with it?
Yep, it was hilarious. Thanks, guys. Love ya. Let's see what else. A new race.
Nope.
Very old race. Around for a long time. Let's see. Playable centaurs. Optimism just goes forever. This was great. And this one just went on. Centaur have finally come to make peace with us, offering to be our mounts in exchange for food and money because their economy is in shambles. Said Shadowhoof is judging you so hard right now. Let's see. This one got close.
This one's pretty good, too.
It is. You at least said Ventari.
Yeah.
Chupacabra Ventari hybrid.
I can think of ways to maybe mix in the Chupacabra.
You have to go now, don't you? You have pictures to draw
Yeah.
and like reworking to do.
Yeah, gotta redesign everything.
Yeah. All right, so this is like a bonus theory. He has 2 horns with 1 more horn. That would be 3. He is Guild Wars 3 confirmed. Now you have a whole lot more work to do.
That's quite a stretch.
You live here now.
Oh.
Surprise!
Never get to leave.
All right, so thank you guys because this was seriously cracking us up for a lot of Monday, and I'm glad you all had fun with it because we had super, super fun with it. Those are things the teaser was not. It was Ventari. It was the Ventari legend, which Roy, probably not by yourself, has been working really, really hard on.
Yeah, it's been me and like other people on my team, like effects artists and programmers. A lot of work went into this legend to make it work because we have some awesome new ways to deliver support, which you guys will see in a little bit when we go over the skills.
Well, why don't we not wait a little bit and do it now?
Sure.
Okay, you want to start with skills?
Sure.
Okay, so we did a little bit of video work this week, and I'll let you jump in and start telling us
Okay.
what we're looking at.
Well, to go over Ventari initially is it's a legend based around support, healing allies, kind of playing off the pacifist theme of Ventari. He wasn't like a fighter, didn't really like war, things like that. So that's what this legend and entire set's basically about. With Ventari, we also have staff, which you can see in the video, our first melee staff that we're releasing. Basically, in the video, you can see using the #1 skill, attacking the golem with the 3rd hit in the chain, sends off little fragments of healing energy around it. So as you strafe around the enemy, you can pick up these fragments and heal yourself, or let allies pick up the orbs and heal each other as well. It's a cool way to support through offense and attacking, and creates this fun gameplay of constantly moving around the enemy to pick up these orbs.
So you're not just standing around passively healing and
Yeah.
bored and doing nothing.
No, we wanted to add a really active feel with support with this whole skill set. Generally, support in the past has been things like shouts or like heals around you. Most of it is AoEs around your character, which doesn't have that much play on either side. It's kind of like stack up and use these skills. With Ventari, we're trying to push it to have a more active role and more skillful way of supporting. In the video, we're showing off the 2nd skill now of staff. And basically that skill is if you strike someone with the 1st hit while they're using an action, so they're attacking you or something like that, you'll get access to a flip over skill, which is an AoE damage and weakness that you can use. So it kind of punishes people for attacking you and tries to promote that pacifist feel of punishing players or creatures, whatever, for making attacks against you, makes you stronger, and you kind of like weaken in an area to try and promote like less damage incoming.
Love it.
So, along with staff, Ventari, which we'll get to in a little bit, has a lot of these feels. Same with traits. A trait that we'll go over later has a similar mechanic where if an enemy is attacking, you'll actually like blind them if they're doing the attack. So Ventari, as a whole, the legend, we really wanted to have a unique feel for the legend and set, and we thought of, for a little bit of the backstory, what legend could we use that really fits this support theme? And we really want to try and push the healer type role in Guild Wars 2, which is a little bit less evident in staff skills, but we'll see when we get to Ventari. This 3rd skill is pretty awesome. You twirl your staff around in front of you, blocking projectiles incoming to you, so you can like stand in front of enemies to block them, or just use it for yourself, things like that. And it also sends missed projectiles from your character to up to 3 targets around you that blind them. So it's kind of a way of you protecting your allies and stopping incoming damage, trying to push that pacifist, like peaceful theme, trying to like support your allies through preventing attacks or like aggression onto your allies.
The animation is awesome. You were mentioning that earlier. They have done such a good job on that.
Yeah, the animations for staff, since it is melee, we are using it in like ways we haven't before. So almost every single one of these is a new animation that we had to have made.
Yeah. You know what? I want to back up just one sec, because there was, we talked about this while we were getting these ready. There is a skill icon that's not quite done.
Yeah.
So you actually don't get the little construction dude and the shovel.
Yeah,
You're
I'm sorry.
not going to get
you don't
to
get
keep
the
that.
placeholder icon, but it is a work in progress. The other icons are all pretty much there. We're just waiting on the last few.
Yeah.
But like always, this stuff isn't being released yet, so everything's work in progress and balance is ongoing and all
Spinning
that.
staff is so great.
Yeah, it's a really cool animation, especially with the effects around it. It creates this like portal looking effect. We wanted to create like you're spinning your staff and creating this like portal from the mist that kind of like blocks the incoming projectiles to you and sends out the like mist attacks to them. So this force skill on staff is another way to support your allies. Essentially, you slam down and create this ripple effect from the mist, your mist energy, and it heals and removes conditions from nearby allies. It roots you in place, so you have to be in a good position because of the animation, but it is a good way that you can support your allies or yourself through condition removal, which this legend and set has a decent amount of. Yeah. So,
oh, sorry. Okay, so melee staff, I mean, this is like a whole different way of coming in and thinking about this, and it's not just like run up to the guy, bonk him over the head with the staff. You guys had to think about this thing a whole different way. Where did you even start?
we started by thinking of having like how you would use the staff as like a martial weapon, kind of like a bow staff. And initially, staff actually was a DPS weapon, so it wasn't even had any support at all. It was going to be tied with something else, but we liked the melee staff feel, and we thought it fit with Ventari and the theme. So we took the staff and tweaked it to be more of this support role, and a lot of these skills are what came out of it. We tried to theme a lot of it, like think of like what would a skill do that helps promote like peace or something. So a lot of use of like blinds or like separating enemies, things like that, or creating ways to heal or support your allies.
I didn't know about it being used for something else. You're gonna have to tell me about that later. Remind me to ask you, because now I'm curious.
Yeah, a lot of things, like as development progress goes, like one thing will turn into another over time. And this skill, which I'm really excited about, the number 5.
Oh.
Yeah. So this also is a
Go
crazy
bully.
new animation. Basically, you take your staff and get this mist form around you to show that you're trying to push your character like through the mist, essentially. And you spin the staff in front of you, going through the mist, and essentially push all foes around you like out of the way. So it's a good way to separate enemies, stop fighting in an area, interrupt enemies. You can use it for mobility, things like that as well. So it fits back into the pacifist kind of theme, because you can imagine like your allies fighting with enemies like in a cluster or something, and maybe the allies under pressure, then you're like, hey, I want to try and give them like some breathing room, then you spin through them, knock back the enemy.
Let me move those for you. Let me just get those out of the way for you.
Plus it looks really cool. It's essentially a bunch of small knockbacks as you're going along the path, so it just like pushes the foes along the path with you.
I have to say, plus it looks really cool is kind of an incentive for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not my first consideration, but it is a consideration.
I mean, it matters a lot. Our effects artists and animators did a really, really good job with this weapon set.
I love it. I like it. So while this is finishing up, just really quick for those of you who aren't familiar with Ventari, we didn't just like let's just pick a random name for no reason and throw it in there as a legend. If you didn't play Guild Wars 1, if you aren't like a lore hound, like a lot of us, Ventari was a prominent character toward the end of Guild Wars 1. He lived in the Maguma jungle back in 250 years ago. He was a pacifist character who ended up fleeing to Tarnished Coast just to get away from the violence that had overtaken his homeland. He befriended, and this is just a super short history of Ventari, so you kind of know where we're coming from here.
Yeah, it's good to know the background.
And he befriended a human named Ronan, and they planted the pale tree, which grew into the grove, and that's the Silvari home city now. So that's kind of a short background. You can look on Guild Wars 2 wiki to kind of get a more extensive thing, but that's where we're coming from. It's not just a random choice. So
Yeah.
I will kind of let you carry on. We've got the utility skills as well that I'm trying really hard not to call that last one Golem Bowling, but
Yeah,
I mean, I
can
can
see
name, but
it makes sense. It's actually a Surge of the Mist, it's the actual name.
all right, that's a cool name too. It's fine, I guess. Whatever.
It looks like we have the Ventari skills up now. So
Love it so much.
the entire premise of this legend is you have Ventari's tablet, which is an actual thing in the world. It's a way for you to interact with the world with your skills. All your skills are essentially played through the tablet. So the first skill that you have, which you saw initially, was summoning the tablet into the world. So when you're in Ventari, you'll see the tablet and the heal skill will summon it into the world. All other skills will be locked. Then as you can see here, once it's out in the world, the heal skill flips over and you get this ability which is key to everything else where you actually move the tablet in the world. I have instant ground target on, so you can't really see, but it is a ground target skill, so basically wherever you click, it'll go through. And this skill will heal allies that it passes through. So essentially, you want to line up allies that you want to heal and send your tablet through them to heal them up, or you can use it for repositioning for the other skills on the bar.
Somebody asked in chat, can I tweet from that tablet? That would be incredible. I'm going to need you to get on that right away.
I'll work on it. But as I said, like all the skills essentially play through the tablet, because right now usually support in our game is done pretty like binary, like through just AoEs around the target or location, and this gives the player a lot more skillful control over their support in the game and allows us to do things like having to line up allies to like heal through them in a line and create like interesting formations of players. This next skill is a projectile destruction bubble around the tablet. It's an upkeep skill, which we went over a little bit before in previous streams, but just in case you guys don't know, the energy mechanic is similar to Guild Wars 1, where you can have upkeep skills. Essentially, you toggle this on or off. While it's active, it'll drain your energy slowly over time. When you hit 0, it fades. So it's kind of a choice you have to make of how long do I want to keep this bubble up to put pressure on my energy resource, things like that. And you can move it around while it's active. So if you're like moving in a group, like in Will Be World or something like that, you can basically send it like to move along with your group, reflecting projectiles protecting you as well.
So Ventari's tablet, and this is probably a thing I should have pointed out, that's actually kind of fairly important. He kind of wrote down, before Ventari died, he wrote down his life experiences on the tablet and placed it at the foot of the pale tree. So again, not just a random thing that you made up because you thought it was cool.
Yeah, well, we were thinking of like an interesting delivery mechanism of how we could do skillful support in the game. And we came up with the idea of using an object in the world to interact, which took a lot of tech on the back end to be able to have this thing that we can move around and whatnot and use as a point to interact with. And then after that, we were like, hey, Ventari's tablet just makes sense since it's such a key role of like his character and lore. And it's a cool way to deliver the skills. Also, it's very minor and you guys might not be able to see in the video, but phrases on the tablet actually light up when skills are being used, so you can kind of see like the phrase glow like as the skill is being used. So it's a cool touch our effects artists were able to do.
No, I love it.
This skill is a delayed heal. So basically you push it, then after a short delay, I believe it's a second and a half, it will do a heal. So it basically gives you time to push it, and you can actually move it into position. Say you push it, then like your allies like move out of position or something, or move away from the tablet. You can actually command the tablet to move towards them so they can still get the heal. Or it's a way for you like to combo like burst heals with other skills and things like that. Just making use of the delay heal.
I had so much fun with this skill. I seriously sat here and played with this for way too long after you showed it to me.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. It allows you to just have more, it's about like preemptive decision making with this, like where are your allies in relation to you, like where they're gonna be, and making decisions based on like what path they're moving. So you have to know like where they're moving to so you can move the tablet to the right location and use it. This next skill in the video is an AoE Condi cleanse, and it actually heals you for each Condi that was removed for you and your allies. We really wanted to push healing in this whole setup to try and push that role and balance that we have in the past a little bit. So like the heal skill will heal when it passes through allies. Then you have the bubble, which doesn't actually heal, but then the next heal is the delayed heal, which you saw just before this. And then this is a Condi removal and heals for each Condi removed. So it's delivering healing in like different mechanisms for most of the skills to support your allies. And it goes well, really well with staff, because as you're healing, you auto attack with staff, create those little orbs around you for allies to pick up, help through blinds, things like that. It's a really kind of soft control and healing, supportive nature. So this next skill, which we'll see in a second, the elite skill is pretty cool. It's one of the ways that you can actually return the tablet to you, which you'll see here in a second. So the elite skill essentially explodes energy from the tablet, desummoning it, and creates these little remnants, like fragments of energy on the ground. The explosion actually knocks back enemies around the tablet's location as it creates these little fragments that are left. And they're kind of like similar to like bandages or something like on the supply crate that you might see for an engineer, where you run over and pick them up and heal, or your allies can pick them up. It's important to note this is like one of the ways to actually return the tablet to your character in case you're running around or don't want it out. The other ways to return the tablet to your character are by legend swapping. The tablet can only be out while you're invoking Ventari at the time, or if you run a certain distance away from the tablet, it will also desummon.
Okay, so you can't just bust it out, swap legends, and still have it.
No, it's only tied to that
Sorry,
legend.
guys.
Yeah, that's the same thing with like all upkeep skills, like on Malix, when you go into the lead, when you swap, it ends that transform effect on them. Because we want to keep it really tied, like for each legend, you are invoking the powers of the legend, so it doesn't really make sense to have those persist when you
Just
swap to
littering
the other
all
ones.
of these wonderful things behind you.
Yeah.
I have everything. No, it doesn't work. Apparently, we think of these things, it turns out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little bit. But we
As
also,
much as we would like to have them for ourselves as well.
yeah, and the
So-
reason why we didn't like automatically summon the tablet like when you go into Legend is like you might swap into Ventari but be running around the map and don't want to have to drag around this tablet as you're moving around. So we want to give you guys, the players, control over like when you bring the tablet out, a few different mechanisms for returning the tablet to you to make it like have a lot more control essentially over your use of the tablet and the skills.
Give you a rope to drag it behind you all the time. All right, so how about your utility? Oh, I'm sorry, traits.
Traits, yeah.
I really like the tablet. I'm going to make you do it again.
Okay.
Nope, I've got my
We'll
little
show it off
list,
in a
and I
second.
just saw the word utilities and went with it. All right, so let's look at your traits.
Okay, so the trait line that goes with this skill set is Salvation. And like Ventari and Staff, it's really focused around like soft control and support and healing. And we went a little crazy with some of these traits,
Yay.
as you'll see. We really want to push the outgoing healing percent to really push like how much you can support your allies, but not just be a super bunker like healer for yourself.
We're
So
just making up words now.
so this first trait, Disarming Riposte, basically when you're striking a foe while they're using his skill, it blinds them and has an internal cooldown. This is the one that I talked about earlier that's similar to the staff too. Basically punishing a creature or foe for making attacks against you while you're attacking them to try and promote that like peaceful, like soft control aspect. For Adepts, we have Nourishing Roots. Nourishing Roots pulses regen around the tablet while it's out, so another reason to have the tablet positioned correctly, more healing to your allies, things like that. This next one, Blinding Truce, it blinds foes around you when you use a heal skill. This one, we're still talking about maybe like changing some ideas we've thrown around or putting slow on it, things like that, just because we think both of these two traits probably shouldn't be blinding. But yeah, that's just something we're gonna work on. This next one is Tranquil Balance, and basically, while you're above the health threshold, your healing done to allies is increased. You'll see, but each line has an outgoing healing trait. So if you really want to play that like healer support role, you can choose that path down the trait line and really push like how much you can heal and support your allies. The next minor trait, Hardened Foundation, it's gaining toughness based on your healing power. We really want to promote like stacking healing power essentially if you take this line, because it's all about healing, supporting your allies. And generally, if you're playing a healer support role, you want to be a little bit more tanky as well, and that's why we decided to give you toughness with that trait. This next one, Tranquil Benediction. It's a staff trait, so when you pick up the orbs from staff, as you saw earlier, when you were auto-attacking, you would create these little fragments of energy on the ground. This trait essentially makes it so that when you pick those up, they also grant regen and swiftness, and since you create them so often, it creates this feel of like, as you're constantly picking them up, it gives you more move speed to help you catch and like pick up the next one in sequence, and also provide a little bit of healing.
Okay, I like that one.
This next one, Looting Nullification. Dodge rolling removes a condition from nearby allies. It's a way to support Condi removal for you and nearby allies. Through your dodges, you remove harmful conditions placed on yourself or them. Invoking Harmony. This is the outgoing healing trait for this line. So healing done to allies increased for a short duration after invoking a legend. So when you legend swap, your outgoing healing is increased by 20% for 5 seconds. So it kind of promotes swapping to different legends, doing things like that, playing more actively, essentially, to get your bonus for your support. This minor trait is just flat, increase outgoing healing to allies. As you can see, we went a little bit crazy. Some of these numbers might have to get toned down, but we just wanted to really push the support role in the game with this legend. And this Grandmaster trait is the last of the outgoing healing traits. Essentially, it's a conversion type trait where for every 100 healing power stat that you stack, you get 1% outgoing heal, or 1.5% outgoing healing. So the more healing power that you stack up, the more outgoing healing percent that you have. This next Grandmaster trait, Natural Abundance, it basically, as you saw in the elite skill, you create those little fragments when you push it and the tablet explodes with energy. This essentially makes the tablet expel like little bits of energy as you're just using any of the other skills. So as you use like the heal skill, a fragment will come off the tablet for your allies to pick up, things like that. So it's more, as you're constantly using skills, it provides an interaction for you and your allies to go pick up these things and get healed. And know about that, we really like the interaction for those because it creates this play between like you and your allies. Instead of just like flat out healing them, you do something where you create this thing on the ground that still requires play, like from your allies to go over this thing and pick them up.
You're gonna have to help yourself a little bit too.
So it's a little bit play on like both sides instead of just like flat out healing people. And allows us to make things a little bit stronger since it requires a coordination. And this last trait, Momentary Pacification, when you use elite skill, you daze enemies around you. This will, as noticed, probably needs an ICD since we have low cooldown traits, elite skills like Malik's. So we'll probably have to add that. But the idea is basically as you use elite skills, you basically stop fighting in the area to promote that like pacifist nature feel.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
All right, I'm ready for my Ventari legend now, please. I spent way too much time playing around with this, so it's well underway.
Yes.
You still have some stuff to do. You have that one icon that needs to be fixed.
Yeah, a little bit of work needs to be done, but the team's been doing a great job, like with the animations, all the effects look amazing, and it's really come together.
How do you feel about it?
I feel really good. I like the interactions that it creates between players and offers a really more skillful way to support in our game. So it lets us make support a bit stronger and a lot more active, like between you and your allies having to work together to really get the most benefit out of these skills.
Nice. Awesome. All right, so that is your first in-game look at Ventari. And thank you so much for coming and letting us see it. It was really, really looking good. This is one that I've had so much fun with, and I am dying to play it. I'm dying to play the game. We have a little bit more to show, though. We still have, you kind of put everything together and let us see some fights. So you want to take a look at
Sure.
those and tell us what you're
These
doing?
are fights. I actually didn't have a build set up, so I probably looked like a terrible noob, and these were done really
You know
quick.
what? You're better than all the rest of us. So
So basically you can see me fighting a staff and a tablet as I'm fighting the Mesmer. You can see me use a push to like interrupt him. I use the tablet to heal myself, basically passing through me with the heal skill. This set really gets way better when there is a group of people because it's essentially made for supporting your allies and less for solo play. As you can see, I have the reflect bubble up to try and block incoming projectiles, things like that. It's a little bit weaker, I would say, for solo play compared to like other legends, but it's not really designed for that. It's really designed for just group play, essentially.
yeah, it sounds like you didn't create it as a solo set.
Yeah. There are other things more catered towards solo, some which we can't talk about yet, but this one's definitely made for like group support and healing allies. So this doesn't necessarily do it justice. Just showing off some of those skills.
Well, you know what? You're better at it than me. So,
Yeah,
and
I'm sure you're not that bad.
you're better at it than everybody watching. So
Yeah,
there you go. Go with it.
cool. So yeah, as you see on the fight, like I try and fight around the tablet to keep it like near me and use the skills to basically like use the elite as an interrupt, create these tablets to heal myself up and stay topped off. Use like the number 2 while they're using a skill to inflict weakness on them. There I get wrecked. As I said, I didn't really have stats or anything set up on my characters. I wouldn't be surprised
Check you out.
if I even had the amulet put on. But yeah, as you can see, fighting the elementalist NPC, fighting the tablet essentially to. You want to keep the tablet near you or positioned so that you can do things like pass it through you, or like there did the delayed heal next to me, then I'll like move it back through, passing through me and healing me a bit, and healing again. Oh man, epic down fight.
Throw those rocks.
Yeah, we get to see me throwing some rocks at NPC. But basically, staff and tablets all about positioning and where you are located to your tablet, where your allies are in position to you and your tablet, just making most use out of that positioning. And since all the effects are AoE, you want to make sure to be hitting like all the allies possible for these effects. Like if you're multi-world fighting, you want to make sure to move the tablet into the biggest cluster of like allies to help support them. And they need to be cognizant of like where the tablet is at times too to get the most benefit out of it.
Yeah, it's going to be, again, awareness on the battlefield. And
Yeah.
I am so excited to get this into the game. Seriously, this is going to be one of the most fun once we get in there and get used to it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I'm also thinking of things that we can't talk about yet, and there's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of fun gameplay to get. I know it's killing both of us.
Yeah,
I
it's
think.
really tough to not talk about some things.
Ventari is going to be a lot of fun though. So
Yeah, it'll pair really well with some. One of the
Malix,
legends that we have not
Malix,
talked about
it's
yet.
going to be a lot of fun with Malix.
Yeah, should work pretty well with Jalis, which you guys have seen.
Yeah.
But there'll be other stuff coming later.
Yeah. So thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.
And you know what? I especially appreciate your consideration in deliberately getting downed into a down state, because
Yeah.
that will help us out with some things that you and I are going to talk about on PvP 101.
Oh yeah,
It was
it
very
was
nice
planned.
of you to do that
totally.
on purpose, right?
Yeah, perfect.
See? That was nice of you. He was like, wow, you are so full of it. So we're going to do PvP 101 here in a couple minutes, but first we have a video that Jebro made that absolutely cracked me up so much. I asked him if I could steal it for POI. Mostly it's the epic music combined with the Asura waddle that absolutely killed me. So let's
can't
take a look at that. I will let Roy get back to work. Thank you again for your time.
Yeah,
I
thanks
greatly
a lot for
appreciate it.
having me.
And we will be back with you in just a minute. Thank you, Jebro, for the amazing, amazing music with the tiny waddling Asura.
It's so good. So good.
He just cracks me up, and wow, that is a lot of people. I left my character in the heart of the mist, just completely covered. Hi, Hugh. Thank you for coming back for PvP 101.
No problem. I love it.
So we had a really good suggestion last week on Twitter that Hugh pointed out to me that we haven't covered in PvP 101, downstate fighting.
Yeah, and actually that's, it's so funny for me because, again, sadly I've been doing this for 2 years or whatever, so for me downstate fighting is just so natural, but it's really unique to Guild Wars 2. There's no really other game that does that. You see this in shooting games, stuff like that with downstates, but not really in any MMO at all. So I wanted to go over that because that was actually a really good idea, especially because we've gone over Warrior already, and we've gone over...
Guardian.
Yes, Guardian. So because of that...
As much time as I spend downstate fighting, I should probably get better at it.
So because of that, though, it makes sense that we should, if you want to look at the password, I got it right there, Miss Ruby.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
But yes.
Okay.
So yeah, so it's really interesting to have that, especially because the Warrior is really unique, and the Guardian actually has some unique things as well.
Accept my invitation. Oh my gosh.
Oh my goodness, why am I not seeing it? Are you inviting the right Hugh?
Yeah.
Am I not?
You guys.
I'm bad at partying, I guess.
Is your name still Nightmare?
Yeah,
Or-
it's still
okay.
Nightmare. Beast mode. All right. So
I feel really rejected right now, but whatever.
we're gonna go over some of that stuff. I'm gonna kind of go over Warrior first because that's the one I know the best.
Is it really? Is
Yeah.
it you?
I mean, I don't want to show my little pie chart here, but my pie chart is rather sad looking. 92% Warrior, 6% Guardian, and there's this little sliver there, Necro and Ranger. Other than that, there's really not much more I can do. So, yeah, I'm gonna hide my shame of Warrior.
I have no idea. I'll just go to your arena.
Yeah, just go to my arena. Just look to good old Hugh's Hoobastank habitat.
That is an amazing name.
I love the stank.
Right?
What can I say? Perfect. All right. So let's go over Warrior.
Yay.
Warrior specifically has 4 skills. All downstates have 4 skills. Your 1 skill, usually your basic auto attack of some kind. For my Warrior, he likes to play dirty, so he's grabbing some rocks and throwing them at you. And the next thing he has for his downstate 2 skill is Hammer. That Hammer is a CC, so usually your 1 skill is damage. So if you're in a close fight, you can actually down the other person, which is actually what you want as a Warrior, and I'll explain why in a second. And then the 2 skill most times is to avoid the stomp. So you want to come over and hop over to the mine.
I switched.
Oh, perfect. So I'll come
I
over.
switched to blue team.
Sweet. I'll come over to you on the runes over there.
Okay.
So yeah, the 2 skills usually to avoid stomp. So like we have, like for instance, the Warrior has the hammer. He'll throw the hammer, and it's a single CC. It's got a little bit of wind up, and it'll knock the person down to avoid the stomp. And then the 3 skills unique to everybody. In a sense, they all kind of do different things. The one thing the Warrior has, which is Vengeance, which is very unique to Warrior, which is you get back up. You straight up get back up.
I have yet to use that successfully.
Yes, so
I regret it every time.
It's a little off-putting sometimes because you there's really good things and really bad things. The good thing is you can get up, start using all your skills. You can use your heals, your utilities, your weapon swaps. You're essentially alive again, but only for a short amount of time. I believe it's about 10 seconds. The bad thing is I'm going to take off my amulet if I can. Oh no, I'm not going to buy an amulet. So yeah, I'll actually switch to Berserker so you can kill me easier. Yes, let's do that. That's a good idea. But yes.
Get your chest because it's driving them insane.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. But yes, the big thing is I can get them to start fighting, but the one thing it doesn't do is you don't contest cap points anymore. So it's really scary to use it. There's a very often times you never really want to use the Vengeance. A couple places you want to use Vengeance. If you're in a downstate fight and you've downed them second, right? Or you know you're not going to win the downstate fight. So if I down you first and you down me, I can throw rocks all day and I'll probably win that fight depending on who it is. If I go down second, what I can do is I can use Vengeance, run over and stomp you, and then pray that there's a 25% chance that I will rally off of that. So when I use Vengeance, it's the double-edged sword. I can get up and fight, but if I do win the downstate fight, like if I go over and stomp you, I may still die, right? I only got 10 seconds. And I do not contest cap points. So ideally, if you're down and you realize there's really no way for you to win, for the warrior, it's best to just accept the death and come back on the respawn. It's very rare that you want to pop it. Now, another good example I use is if I'm in a 2v2 instance.
Die faster.
I'm sorry, I'm in my tanky Shoutboy warrior set. If I'm in a 2v2 scenario and there's like another person down and I'm down, right? And my other two people are fighting my ally and the enemy. It's actually sometimes better for me to pop Vengeance to avoid the other person rallying off me and it becoming a 2v1 scenario. If I can Vengeance get up, get that one stomp, even if I do die, for that split little bit of time, it's a 2v1. I will die, but at least we might win the overall 2v2 fight. So as Ruby finally kills me here, because I'm in my super tanky...
Wait for this to explode and finish you off. There we go.
So let me show you the skills real quick. So you see, you have your downstate. You can see it says fight to survive. So my health is diminishing right here. So I have my rock throw, which is some decent damage. I can throw them. And then I have this wind up. It's a 2-second knockdown, but it has a 1-second channel. So really when you're doing is when you're fighting, I'm going to kind of keep myself up and keep going between almost dead and not. You want to throw the hammer when you know they're about to stomp. So if Ruby came over to try to stomp me, I could be like, boom, throw my hammer and go. So like if I'm trying to survive on this point because I'm fighting, I'm like, okay, cool. So you see it, boom, get that. And that will almost give me enough time to get my Vengeance off. Because Vengeance, when the third skill, when you come up, actually is on cooldown. You can't use the Vengeance right away. You have to survive long enough. And it's balanced so if I get down and the person immediately goes for the stomp, even if I interrupt them, they'll still get the stomp up before Vengeance comes up. So really force that. It depends, because a lot of times you want to bleed them out, right? You want to, whenever you're playing PvP, the goal is to bleed the person out. You don't want to stop them out because they're going to come on respawn and you have to deal with them.
It's just going to go faster.
Yes. But because the warrior has Vengeance, you got to weigh that. Because if I'm sitting there just letting him bleed out and another person comes to fight me, he could Vengeance and help essentially have a 2v1 for that short amount of time. So you got to weigh that, right? But if you do see, like, this is a newer player thing that I see because maybe they do it in PvE, because I know I use Vengeance in PvE whenever I'm going to kill something. They'll Vengeance when it's a 1v1 and they lost. Now what that means to me is if I'm on point, as long as my point's captured, I can leave you.
Right.
Because you're not going to decap my point, right? So, he Vengeance, okay, cool, I'm out. So I'm going to leave him, he'll chase me or do whatever he's going to do, but I know for a fact that there's nothing he can do to that point to get that away from me. So you got to be careful when you're using Vengeance. You got to really weigh it. But on the opposite end, you got to be careful because you don't want to just let them sit there, because if another person comes to fight you, you may be in big trouble real quick.
Yeah.
So that's the warrior. And again, it doesn't really have AoE CC. It doesn't really have a ton of damage when it's down, but it has the utility of Vengeance, which you got to weigh that both on offense, both when you're down and when you're dealing with the downstate warrior, to really think about exactly how you're going to play that out.
Yeah. So if you're new, trial and error on the Vengeance thing is okay, and you're probably going to screw it up. I know I did. I still screwed up, and that's okay. If you're experienced, this is just, super simple, and it's a thing that you're aware of, and it's a thing that you get, and it's okay that you're screwing it up because you're new. You're allowed. So don't worry about it. I did.
I'll definitely say there's a lot of times I see people mess this up, and in high level as well. You'll see people, they'll be like, "Oh, you're coming to save me. Oh, okay, cool. I'll 2v1 this because I know you can't save me." And as they Vengeance, a banner will come down, and that would have rezzed them. But instead, it now went on a Vengeance body, which doesn't do anything, right? So again, it's the communication there. Obviously, when you get to like a more competitive level, that communication is really important, right? Like, hey, I'm down. Are you going to save me? No. Do you want me to get up and fight? No. Okay, I'm going to die. Or you want me to fight with you? Cool. I'll Vengeance right here. We'll fight for a little bit. We might get that kill, but maybe not. And also communicating, because when Vengeance goes down, that's the other thing I didn't say. When Vengeance expires, you're done. Like, you go straight to dead. You don't go back down.
That's the screwed up part.
Yeah. So it's good to communicate when you're going to die if you vengeance. Because like, for instance, if you're 2v1ing somebody and that person's about to go to the down state, if your vengeance goes off and you die, they rally, right? So you're like, hey, I'm about to die. Hold off on DPS for a second. I die. Okay, hit them one last time. He goes to down state. You win the fight, right?
Yeah.
Really important. It's interesting because vengeance is one of those things where I'm always like, it's easy. But then when you really think about all the tactics that come along with it and the communication that can be done,
there's a high risk, high reward thing happening there.
Definitely.
And when you're really new, it feels mostly just high risk.
Yes.
At the end.
So I would definitely try your best to make those assessments. But if you're ever kind of like on the fence, I would probably just not push it.
Yeah.
Just let it happen. Let the death happen, and then respawn, and then try to fight that again. All right.
Yeah.
That's what I would suggest. Practice it, learn it, understand the situations, learn from them, and then use it as you feel more comfortable.
Use it when you're sure.
Yep.
Yeah. And just accept that you're going to screw it up. It's allowed. It's okay. Sometimes people are going to sound like you're not allowed.
Yeah.
But
So I'm going to go
it's
switch over to Guardian. We're going to go over that really quick, and then we're going to call it. I'm only going to do these first two because I've only done Guardian and Warrior so far. But that is, as we go through the other professions, I'll kind of, at the end of it, kind of talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, we can come in and revisit.
Yep. So let's talk Guardian. So Guardian, again, one skill is a beam skill. It's a beam skill that channels does some damage. The next thing is the 2 skill, which is a big AoE, essentially bubble that knocks everybody back. Now this is an AoE CC on anybody around you, right? So that's unique, again, to the Guardian and not the Warrior, where the Warrior was just a single person. The Warrior's a single person with the hammer. The Guardian is AoE. And then we have...
I'm just on the same point.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just dancing.
Excellent. So I'll come over. And the third skill is an AoE ground target, what do they call it? Symbol that will pulse healing. And this healing is a lot. It's a lot of
awesome.
healing. And it does damage as well.
Sadly familiar with that.
And also I'm going to point out as well that your sigils will still proc on damage when you're down. So when you're using, for instance, this is my midi guard. When I go down, if you're not careful, I'll still proc everything and just do a ton of damage to you. So you got to be careful when you're fighting, when downing these guys. So I will let.
Devil horns.
Yeah, I know. This is my flan. She's so cute. Oh man, she's so pretty.
Suspended.
If you want to go ahead and down me real quick, Miss Ruby, so I can show off these skills, I would most appreciate it. So
Ridiculous to kill.
well,
Also, I suck. So
no, this is the medi guard. She'll go down real fast. She's got very squishy.
You are squishier.
So one skill, easy. Just channel it. It actually hits multiple times, which is good for proccing sigils and all those things that are damage. 2 skill again, knocks back foes. AoE. Again, this has a half second, so it's a little harder to dodge. The Warrior's really simple. It's got a 1 second. You'll see him kind of like pull back, and you're like, okay, I can dodge roll that. And that way I don't get that 2 second knockdown, right? The same thing with this guy is it's a 1 second, so you'll see my hand. I'll throw it up real quick so you see my hand. Boom, and then the AoE knockback. So if you see this, if you see the oops, let me make sure I don't die.
I came over here so I'd stop punching.
If you see the hand go up, immediately dodge. Just hit the dodge because what it'll do is the knockback, you'll avoid it and you can get that stomp much easier. If you get knocked back, it's more time. And so the next thing, so I'll use the 1 skill here so you can kind of see it. So you see the 1 skill channels multiple times. You'll see I got a lightning proc on that one. It does a pretty decent amount of damage. And then the next one, again, I'll show this on this side. So you'll see the knockback there. Fairly long knockback. You see the distance there. It's pretty substantial.
Way over here.
If you dodge that, right, you're still right on top of me, easily get the channel right back off again, right? Oh, I wasn't paying attention.
I didn't do that.
No, it was me. It was me.
It was not me.
And then you have the bandage skill, obviously. But then the 4 skill, I'm sorry, 3 skill, I'm going to jump in here one more time. I want to show that off. It's a big symbol, and it will heal you a bunch of times really, really fast. So if you see an ally is going to come in and try to save you, this is a really good skill because you'll pop it down and it's passive. You don't have to do anything. They can stun you and knock you out of it, but it'll be pulsing that heal, and it's very substantial. I want to show that off really quick.
Okay. Come back in.
Come back into game real quick. And then the now it's a double-edged sword though, because if you don't take us back into the game really quick, sir.
There we go.
Thank you. If I pop it and I not going to get saved. That's just more time I'm spending dead, right? And it is around my body, so it's really easy to avoid, right? If you're sitting here killing me and you get me down, and I get oops, let me get off my auto attack here. If I do pop it, it's really easy to avoid, right? So like I'll sit here and, if I'm taking this and I do get a successful knockback, right? And I do get my symbol, because again, it is on cooldown just like the warrior. You'll see I'll pop it. It's really short range. It does a decent amount of damage, but the healing is huge. Like you can see I'm getting chunks of my life back.
Yeah, you are.
So if I did happen to get like to about 20%, if I didn't have poison on me, I could easily pop a symbol and get myself back up while being able to CC and whatnot with it.
Yeah.
So, risk reward again, you pop it, to get yourself back up. The problem is if you do have poison or you do see you're not gonna make it up, it just extends your death. So you get risk reward there. This is not as big of a risk reward as Vengeance, because you could, if you see like, hey, my friend's here to help me, I can get, I have a CC on the ground. If I stand on point, I can CC them off the point. I can put some damage on the point. I can heal myself. My friend might be able to get me back up, right? Whereas the warrior is all in. You're either dead or alive, one of the two.
I find that few things are as big of risk reward.
Yes.
All right, awesome. So that kind of took us through the downstate fighting on that, and I think it was probably a good call on our Twitter followers. So
yeah, no, that was
very much.
really, really great, guys.
Yeah.
If you have any other suggestions or anything else like that you want to see or more of, just shoot us a message on Twitter and we'll see what we can do.
Send them to us with the hashtag GW2POI. Follow our channel also, so you know when we go live and you don't miss it.
That'd be awesome.
Thank you, Hugh, as always, for coming and helping us through Noobland in PvP.
My pleasure.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And we are out of time for the week, so we will see you guys next week with Josh and Ready Up.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
This has been Lord Farron, and you've been watching Points of Interest. And I'm Rich,